Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Stephen Castle. I'm Editorial Director of IGB, and I'll be chairing today's IGB webinar, Knowing Me, Knowing You, how can brands and affiliates develop more trust-based partnerships. It's fair to say relations does not always run smooth between operators and affiliates. Affiliates always bemoan the lack of transparency and communication by some programs when making changes to terms and conditions, tracking links, quotas, and so forth, which are all seen as undermining the foundation of trust in the partnership. While for operators, the relationship has always been a bit love and hate. You know, they love the players affiliates can send them, they aren't able to get themselves, but also feel they're giving away a margin under rev share deals as well. Strains on this relationship have arguably increased in recent years due to tightening regulations and more recently a global pandemic. Right now, there's some real pressure on operators to cut costs and improve compliance, which has seen some programs cut the longer tail of affiliates they work with. But affiliates now also feeling the squeeze to provide as much value as possible amid a thickening fog of mistrust. The lack of face-to-face contact at events has also not been helpful to the situation in recent months. Tackling this topic today, we have a pretty stellar panel, actually exploring it from the operator side, the operating program side, the trade body side, and also the affiliate side as well, and consists of Claire Wellard, who is a CEO of iGaming XL. We have Clive Hawkswood with us, who is chairman for RAIG, and also Erez Margaret, who's CEO of Tag Your Leads. I'll let them introduce themselves pretty shortly and explain where they sit in the landscape in relation to today's discussion. I just want to say before I throw over to them for their introductions, there'll be a Q&A session following the presentation. So please do submit as many questions as you want as we go along, and we'll try to address as many of them as possible in the allocated time. Right, I'm going to hand over to the panelists to introduce themselves, and then we'll kick off the discussion. Who wants to go first? Claire, do you want to kick off?
Sure, no problem. So I'm Claire. I've launched iGaming XL, which is a consultancy mostly on the affiliate marketing side of the business. I've been in the industry for 14 years, and for the last 10, I've been running an affiliate network. So I'm well used to running affiliate programs, sitting as middleman between affiliates and operators, working closely with affiliates over the last 14 years as well. And yeah, I'm pleased to be part of the panel. Thank you.
Clive, do you want to go next?
Yeah, why not? So my name's Clive Hawkswood. I'm currently chairman of Responsible Affiliates in Gambling, which is why I'm on the call today. It's a trade group based in the UK focusing on social responsibility in the sector. I've been around the industry for a very long time on the gambling side, 15 years as Chief Executive of the Remote Gambling Association. I worked for the government on gambling policy for a number of years, and I've sat on all sorts of things like the Board of Gambler Aware. So that explains why I'm the oldest panelist.
Erez,
good afternoon. My name is Erez Margalit. I'm the CEO of Tag Your Leads. It's a new network. It's my third one that I've been creating. I've been in this business for 10 years, and I've been on both sides. I've been an affiliate and a master affiliate, and I've been working as affiliate manager and head of affiliates within operators and brands, and from networks as well. So I know this business from all aspects and all sides, and I can give a fair and honest point of view on both sides. Tag Your Leads is a network that is focusing on affiliates and helping out affiliates expanding their operations while working within the regulations and overcoming the challenges that we're facing today as affiliates.
Thanks, all. Right, okay, that's intros. Right, I think my question to the panelists is going to be sort of just to set the scene really. I mean, what do all the panelists feel about what the main areas are where trust is being eroded or breaks down between operators and affiliates? What are the sort of main areas, the points of conflict, I guess? Do you want to kick off with that question, Claire?
Sure.
Yeah,
I think it's.
I'm sorry, Claire.
Oh, I'm sorry. You can go.
No,
Clive.
it's the sound. Our names sound the same at the beginning. You start.
Okay. I've seen it from all sides, to be honest. I've seen, you know, there's affiliates that have been in the business that, you know, they won't work without contracts, and they even go so far to request it's only a director that can sign They want to see, you know, that there's money in the business. They want to see that there's funding so that they're always going to be paid. And they're very quick to not work with brands that are unable to supply that. They're a very big affiliate, and they've earned that right. And the reason they believe that they can request that is because so many brands just close down. So many brands will change their T's and C's halfway through relationships. You know, we've had the likes of Skybet, who I probably shouldn't mention, that decided to just close everything down, and affiliates lost a lot of money. I know there was some legal situations around that as well. But on the flip side, from an operator's point of view, there are so many affiliates, particularly on the CPA side of things, or that want fixed fees, that have been burnt in the past. You know, there's well-known people in the industry that have come, asked for high fees, promised the world, and left big holes in people's pocket, in an operator's pocket. So with delivering nothing. So, you know, even recently I was working with an affiliate, asked them for some, hey, can you're new to me, I haven't worked with you before, you're new, can you show me what you can do? 2 days later, they sent me some stats. 2 days later, another affiliate new to me sent me exactly the same screenshot of stats, exactly the same clicks, the same impressions, everything exactly the same, except one little change of the ID number in the top. So the minute I called them out on it, they vanished. I never heard from them again. So I can see it absolutely from both sides. It's, you know, there's a lot of money at stake, and there's a lot of opportunists. Let's say that.
Right. Clive?
Yeah, I'll definitely agree with.
Sorry, who did you ask then, Stephen? Was that me?
I went to Clive. I think we're having a few little sound difficulties, everybody. I'm just going to. Clive, do you want to go first, and then we'll come to you, Erez, after that. Okay.
I mean, as Claire was saying, you know, you can certainly see it from both sides. I think from the operator side, there's been a frustration with affiliates because, as Claire was saying, some of them have been burned, and that appetite for risk in relationships is disappearing very quickly, especially in mature markets. And I think also one of the things I've noticed over recent years is that for a very long time, the relationships between affiliates and the operators was very much determined by the affiliate managers in the companies. And in over whatever period, but certainly more recently, people at board level have started taking a notice, and they're expressing concerns. That downward pressure then is affecting the relationship between affiliate managers and the affiliates themselves. So I think there's a sort of cocktail of issues there, which is probably bringing this to a bit of a head. On the affiliate side, I sense a real frustration over the, I think, what could be fairly described as arbitrary decisions in some cases. You know, Sky's an obvious one, but there are lots of the big players who have just taken an axe to their affiliate relationships, and it's not always clear how they've decided which ones to keep and which ones to get rid of. And then that has a knock-on effect of making both sides of the relationship nervous in future. So I think there is a lot going on. I think for the affiliate side, it is unbelievably frustrating at the moment. Not to say there aren't lots of commercial opportunities, but I think there are more strained relationships than ever. I think for the operator side, the big change has been the downward pressure from regulators and consequently from people at board level that perhaps wasn't there before.
Thanks, Clive. Erez, what's your take on this?
I'll try to sum it up in two main points. On the affiliate side, the main question is, and honestly, the question is, will I get paid what I'm entitled to from the players that I've brought into the business? And from the operator side is, will I get the value that I need? And then I'll be happy to pay the affiliate for the traffic or players that he sent my way. Player value versus getting paid will be always, I think, the two main points of this this equation. Affiliates will always worry, will I get paid? Brands will always, operators will always worry about the player value. Those will be the main key points. And then I would think moving on will be the working within the frameworks of the regulation. But that I can think can be solved with proper tracking and working with the operators' marketing materials. But the main issue is payment and payment on time, and not changing the TNCs and the player value. That would be my main take on that.
Okay. I touched on it earlier, I think. So how did he, I meant to touch on it in my introduction. How did the panelists see these points of conflict having sort of changed in recent years? I mean, we mentioned the Sky Bet scenario, where they effectively closed the whole program down, with the exception of a few kind of the bigger guys that they continue to work with. I mean, how do you see this as kind of ratcheted up the kind of the tension in the relationship in recent years? And what factors would you pick of having done that? We touched on compliance, regulation, and I guess more recently you could say the pandemic as well. Who would like to take that one as well, about how some recent developments have changed, sort of increased, strained that relationship more in recent years?
Well, I'll go first. As on the screen, I'm sitting next to you. I think the pandemic's affected everything. It's affected all businesses, and you know, if you look, for instance, just we were talking before we came on about the importance of sportsbook, particular affiliates where you know there's an awful lot of content compared to gaming you can provide. Well, we had no sport for months and months, so that put pressure on, you know, from one angle, but from another, it's also driven down profits with a lot of the online gambling operators. So they're looking at their relationships. You know, if you look at land-based, they're closing betting shops, casinos are being closed. Some of those same impacts will hit online, and so they're looking to cut costs. And you know, whether we like it or not, that's going to impact on future contracts with affiliates. I would expect, you know, for the foreseeable future, those negotiations will be tougher than ever.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with you, Clive. Actually, I think there has been a cut in spend. There's been cuts in deals, and so far as actually I was in talks with an operator to come on and assist them because they had made redundant their entire affiliate department. There was one head of affiliates left, which for me was crazy because that's the acquisition. You know, that's how. Aside from if you're doing direct marketing, how else are you going to be getting your players through to your program? So to cut the entire program seemed crazy to me, but that was obviously the business decision that they had made. And I definitely think it's got, you know, it does have knock-on effects. It's perhaps forcing the affiliates as well to look at the way that they are structuring their deals, the payments that they're getting. You know, perhaps the fees they're charging are less. Because the opportunities, they're just not out there so much now.
Erez?
I would definitely say that this past 6 months have made a huge damage on of course, on sports betting, and as an affiliate on sports betting with 3 websites, I feel it. I feel it really deep. But on both sides, again, I would narrow it down the point of view into on the operator sides, and to 2 numbers. One is the ROI, and the other one is the CPA, the acquisition of a client. How much does it cost to get a new player? Those numbers are crucial, and any CMO, any head of affiliates would sit down and come up with those numbers, and then we'll look at his portfolio, and then we'll decide, I have an affiliate, he's bringing me numbers, but the ROI is a negative ROI. I'm not making enough money. And it's not one-on-one. It's, you know, when you're an operator, it should be 1.7 to 1 before you're making profit, because you have to pay salaries and all kind of expenses. So on the operator's point of view, the ROI and the cost of acquisition of a new player, those are the 2 main numbers. And on the affiliate side, it's the EPC. That's always have been the true mark for any affiliate. It's the EPC. This is how we measure the success of a program or the success of a campaign. And any affiliate who's focusing on one or two brands to bring him more the big share of his profit, and he's relying on it could be the best relationship that he has. He's making a mistake. You always need to be divesting your efforts as an affiliate and trying to find the best EPC out there for you. So those two points of view, one on the EPC on the affiliate side, and the ROI on the operator sides, are the two main things. And I can, in any decision made by any side based on numbers is acceptable, as sad as it may sound. I do think that cutting down an entire affiliate program on the operator side is not a smart move, because eventually, let's say I know how to buy media online and I do great PPC campaigns, but I've always found an affiliate who's doing that better than me. That's why I got into affiliate marketing way in the beginning. So, and I think you need to be balanced, balance out your numbers and make good decisions, and to be able to be agile and change that around if you need.
Thanks, Erez. I mean, the downward pressure, obviously, the operation under is obviously being pushed down onto the affiliates. Do you think affiliates are overestimating their worth of operators at this time? And obviously, we've touched upon, and is the revenue share structure still is something that's going to stay in place? Do you think that's something that's going to be questioned as well? But who wants to take that one first?
Well, I'll again, no good reason, but I'll go first. I think probably two aspects to that. The first one, revenue share has clearly been a sort of bedrock of the affiliate system for such a long time, but it is coming under more scrutiny now. For most products, it'll be fine. But when it comes to gambling, it's raising the question about who's benefiting. I'm not saying this is fair, but it's a perception. Who's benefiting from the money lost by problem gamblers? And that's very much part of the debate in UK Parliament at the moment. And one of the many parliamentary reports that are coming out, one of them is in oral hearings, they raised that with the CEOs of the major operators, and just they don't believe it's right. Now, it's such a crucial part of the sector that we need to be ready to defend it, but it's certainly going to be up there for debate. I think more generally, I would draw a distinction between mature and new markets. So in jurisdictions like the UK, probably increasingly Spain, Denmark, Italy, places like that, player recruitment is becoming less important. There's only a limited number of players in each jurisdiction. Most of the big players have already got them signed up in one way or another. And it's the role of affiliates in brand reputation. It's the role of affiliates in pushing particular products or bonuses or that sort of thing, not just to potential new customers, but to existing customers who are still shopping around. We know there's limited brand loyalty amongst customers. So there's that sort of shift in the activities of affiliates depending where the market is. But also I think the level of regulatory scrutiny is very different in established jurisdictions, where the regulators have got used to regulating gambling and increasingly they're looking at the marketing of gambling. And again, we've seen that in Italy and Spain and certainly in the UK. So I think those are all things for affiliates to look at closely, but as ever, to stay light on their feet, because it's not one of those situations where one answer will do for every market. It won't. And you know, as Erez was saying, diversification, you know, has never been more attractive, both in terms of clients, but also in terms of markets.
I'll just follow on from Clive and say I do agree with you, and I think you know, it's hard on the affiliates when it comes to the problem gamblers, because how much influence do they have? They can write articles, they can provide links to all the places to go from help, but ultimately my question is, how can they be ultimately responsible for if problem gamblers find their website and register somewhere, there's no control currently, or there's no way for the affiliates to control that. So I understand removing commissions from, they shouldn't be paid if the players start self-excluding. I'm aware that most programs will have a T's and C's in there where they won't be paid for that, or chargebacks or fraud. But I think it's a really tricky one for the affiliates to know how to navigate through. Is there more that they can do aside from writing about it in the education for the players? It's a really tricky one, and likewise, they'll have the funds removed from the operator, but operators as well, when you're talking about rev share, there's more and more, maybe on a monthly basis, I'll see from operators them adding a minimum number of players a term into their T's and C's, and that can be for affiliates that have been with them for 10 years plus, and all of a sudden maybe they've had a shift in the traffic that they're receiving. Maybe they've changed their business model because of COVID, and now they're having to focus on a different geo, and they're now hit with these new T's and C's. And rightly or wrongly, I understand the business case on both sides. I understand operators are paying for players that came in 5, 10 years ago, however long, 3 years ago, and the affiliate hasn't sent anything since, perhaps. I understand from a business model that that's not so attractive, but from an affiliate side of view, they did the hard work and they believe they signed up to get lifetime earnings, and now that's being removed. So that's just something that I've noticed is happening more and more. And I've worked with a few hundred operators over the years, so I see a lot of changes in that.
Eros?
Yeah, I'll say I have two main points regarding this. First of all, I want to talk regarding affiliates, and I'm basically dividing affiliates into two main groups or two main sectors. One is affiliates that are generating their traffic via their own digital assets. Affiliates who have websites and doing SEO and PPC directly to their website, or affiliates who have communities on one of the social networks, and they generate the traffic themselves with their assets. This is one group of affiliates, and the other one is what I call middlemen, networks, small affiliates, media buyers that basically buy traffic somewhere and sending it to the brand while cutting their commission. Those group of affiliates who are middlemen, I don't have another name for it right now. Basically, they are more agile. They can just buy from another source and expand or shift or change their source of traffic or geos or countries. An affiliate who's building his business on his websites or groups in WhatsApp, Telegram, Facebook, or wherever, will have to get reacquainted with his audience. And I've met affiliates in the past. I've asked them, "Do you know who? Can you describe the average Joe on your website?" And I've got answers that everybody's not a good answer for affiliate generating traffic from his own website. You got to know your audience. You got to pitch them with the right bonus, the right offer, with the right product, and that goes back to diversifying your abilities as an affiliate. I think those actions affiliate needs to take in order to cope with this COVID-19. And on the brand side, I think that I would say this, that there are new brands basically kind of there is a benchmark for CPA or for RevShare, and then when you have a new brand offering hot deals and affiliates are running around and getting $300 CPA per player, where the rest of the market is paying 120, it hurts everybody because the affiliates will start running into that operator and would demand more from the other operators. And I've seen that the rates of CPAs and rev shares not only in gaming, also in Forex, going up, and player value hasn't changed that much. And I think, and people, again, looking at the short-term aspect of things instead of it's a marathon. It's not, you're not running a 100 meters dash. You need to think in the long term of things, and operators offering crazy deals are influencing the benchmark and moving the seesaw towards the affiliate side of things, and it's not good for the business as a whole. That's my take on that.
Thanks, Erez. I just want to hone in on something Claire said in her piece, actually, which is about CPAs, and there's a sort of an issue coming to the fore at the moment. We've actually got a really good piece going next issue of the magazine. Becomes my flag for the next issue of the magazine. But I thought that well on this about operators not paying out CPAs on self-excluded players. But I think to sort of move on from sort of tap into that a little bit, I think it kind of comes to that issue, doesn't it? Because I think affiliates feel that, you know, in order to actually work with the operator on compliance, to work with the operator in a more compliant way and help, you know, as you said, protect players and work within the guidelines, their argument is that they need to have this information. Do you know what I mean? There needs to be more sharing of data and resources, and operators need to provide affiliates with better access to this information, and also other elements of player reports and data build. I mean, do you agree that, you know, this would actually facilitate a better working relationship between operators and affiliates and help with, you know, obviously the growing compliance issue? And if so, what's actually possible here? Obviously, we have regulations such as GDPR governing what is possible here. And who wants to kick that one up?
Well, again, I will just out of habit. Yeah. Well, I was going to say, look, it's an issue both sides have looked at. Certainly, the operators want it, the regulators want it, you know, we want it, but the law stands in the way. And you know, I've seen various legal opinions. I hear of some companies who share lists of their self-excluders with affiliates. I haven't actually seen any examples, but you know, you hear these things. But all the legal opinions I've seen tells me that will be illegal unless the customer has given explicit consent, which I'd be very surprised if they have. In the UK, the route we've explored is through GAMSTOP, which is the National Self-Exclusion System, which is obviously the place to go. But again, legally, they say they can only work with licensed operators, and of course, we're not licensed entities as affiliates, so we don't have a route in that way. There are also practical difficulties in that typically an affiliate will have an email address, whereas most self-exclusion systems work on a minimum of 5 fields of data for an accurate match. So we need to manage expectations about what we could do, but there must be a solution there. And what we really need is either regulation to change or the law to be tinkered with that actually makes it a legal solution that operators are happy with, and that one that affiliates could accommodate.
Thanks, Clive. I saw Claire, you were going to jump in there. So, Claire, what's your take on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I want affiliates to be accountable for many things, right? I believe that affiliate and operator relationships are a partnership. I don't think it's a you and I think it's a partnership. And if you work as a partnership, it's going to be so much smoother. It's going to be so much nicer to work together like that. And anytime I've been on either side of the fence, that's how I like to treat the people that I work with, no matter which side of the fence I'm on. In terms of following on what Clive said, and again, you know, Clive is the expert on the legal side, but maybe you can't, I feel like you can't hold the affiliate accountable for this, but maybe there's a way, and I don't know, Clive, maybe they've explored it, where all of the you know, there is this GAMSTOP that holds all of the data for all of the self-excluded players, all the problem gamblers, and the operators have to, there's a way of syncing that. So the operators almost, you know, perhaps you start with the license, UK license one, and their data almost sinks in and pulls out and goes, right, they're all self-excluded. Like you have 10 new this month or this week that you can't have. And it doesn't matter then, you know, unless you've got an affiliate going, it doesn't matter whether you're self-excluded. Here's how to, you know, if you've got a problem, here's how to navigate around that. That's a different thing. And actually, I haven't come across any affiliates that have ever done that. I think as people, I don't know. I can't imagine that ever coming up in our industry, but maybe the emphasis just needs to be on the legal side. And you can't enforce that for offshore operators. You can't, you know, they're not regulated here, but they still take the traffic. That's a separate conversation. But I think maybe there's, you know, it does lie, I think, on the operator side rather than the affiliate side in that situation.
Thanks, Jay. Ares?
It's a tough question, you know. Relating back to the two groups of affiliates that I've just talked about, affiliates who are buying traffic from from another source have no way of knowing sometimes have no way of knowing what is the real source and who's coming into who's clicking on what and where. Because even though we have tracking and we're taking the marketing materials from the brand, I cannot control anyone that goes into Facebook and starting the voyage, the journey over there. Affiliates who have their own assets can let's say tighten the scrutiny of who comes in. And again, it goes back to getting to know your audience better. It's a tricky and a tough question because. And of course, when looking into the TNC and the requirements of the law, you have to put a huge amount of text of TNC into a banner that is 250 pixels by 200. It's impossible. So it's very, very tricky. I think that what can be done is make and on both sides, affiliates and operators, is making sure that the marketing materials that are used are approved and are tracked by the operators, and everything is okay on that part, and a good amount of communication. I always say to my operators that I'm working, or affiliates, whatever, if I'm not speaking to you at least once a day, something is wrong. A good amount of communication and understanding, and trying to scrutinize and get a real feedback on what's going in and going out. That's how I would address this. And again, it's a very, very tricky situation. Of course, if you're not legally binded to something in the UK, for example, there's not much you can do.
Yeah, and if it goes for like that, that's one of the concerns that's been expressed about sharing that data with affiliates. Affiliates obviously not licensed entities. You're sharing essentially a very sensitive database with them by telling them who's self-excluded. No reason to think the vast majority wouldn't act responsibly with that. But again, if they do something, they sell it to an offshore operator or something, it's got a lot of value. You only need one rogue affiliate, and that whole trust system collapses.
Yeah, you need only one rotten apple to hurt the basket. I agree.
Okay, kind of moved on to moving us on nicely, I think, to the sort of raft of proposals to reform of the DB industry, and I guess yeah, countries like Sweden and other countries are looking at it as well. I just sort of want to get people's views on the proposal reform that are out there from now. I mean, there's obviously the set of standards that the Gambling Commission has asked the Betting and Gaming Council to put forward. There's also the affiliate licensing proposal as well, contained in the recent House of Lords report. It's obviously been supported by Responsible Affiliates in Gambling, Clive's organisation. And yes, the Soundcard was IG Live recently, wasn't he? Talking about coming out and backing a very light touch sort of licensing regime for affiliates, based more on just on registration, so that basically operators regulating in a jurisdiction would only work with those affiliates. I'd like to get people's views on on those proposals, and how do you see these affecting operator affiliate relationships? Who wants to start with that one in terms of building, in terms of the partnerships that are ready? Do you think it will actually help those partnerships become more sort of open and transparent and more trust-based, or do you think it's going to be a period of adjustment where it's going to make those relationships trickier while this thing beds down? Start with that one.
First, I've got to say it's a really complex subject, and we came out in favour of licensing, but we were months knocking it backwards and forwards because there are very credible arguments for and against, and again they may be carrying more weight in the UK than they do in some other jurisdictions. So it was pretty much a UK solution we were looking at. And just digressing only slightly, one of the reasons we've gone down this road is the perception of the affiliate sector in the UK. Now, gambling is considered fairly toxic in the UK at the moment, and the affiliate sector where gambling is concerned is considered even lower than that. And just to give you an example, when the Lords Committee was having these meetings, spoke to the Honourable Lord separately and knew nothing about any of this. We went into do a bit of education, and he started off saying, okay, show me a legal definition of affiliate. I can't, there isn't one. Tell me how many affiliates there are active in the UK. I can't, nobody knows. He said, so you don't know what they are, you don't know how many they are, which sort of implies you don't know what they're doing. Isn't that the Wild West? And those are almost exactly his words. And most people in politics are starting from a very low knowledge base, but that's their perception. And when you step back and think, we have nothing to underpin what we do, and that was one of the reasons we started thinking, actually, a licensed income registration process would address a lot of that. It would also help in think in terms of relationships with operators, because at the moment they're having to carry all that responsibility. And I know they will kick that downhill to the affiliates if something goes wrong. Lots of them are currently using a one strike and you're out approach. But there is something for the credibility of the sector to say we are registered and approved in some way by a statutory regulator. And we're not in any sense suggesting that affiliates go through the sort of licensing process that an operator would, because the risks are completely different. But some sort of basic fit and proper test and some sort of commitment to abide by a social responsibility code, which covered, whatever we might want to do about self-exclusion, self-excluders, or about other high-risk customers, or whatever the regulator wants, will, I think, take us a long way forward. But also, I think, critically, will give affiliates a real seat at the table, rather than being, if you excuse the phrase, at the arse end of all this, where discussions are taking place without real input from affiliates, where the views of affiliates are represented to regulators by operators primarily, which is not, I'd suggest, a good idea for anybody. And so decisions then are not, I would say, sufficiently well informed. And that's dangerous for the whole sector. So we've got to try and square that circle. And although licensing is not a perfect solution, we think it ticks a lot of those boxes.
Claire, Ares? So what's your on the licensing?
I have 2 points. Firstly, I agree that the industry gets a lot of bad press, and it does, and some of it justified. But I believe as an industry, we also do, we do a lot of work as well. There's companies that donate to charity, and we look at these problems, and we're trying to come up with solutions. We're trying to, tighten everything up. I think that we should do more as an industry to anything that we do that's good, anything that we do where we're raising money for charity, where we're, I think Better Collective, there's a Facebook group, I think, and they've just donated 500 or 800 euros to Minds. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about it. It's in the grand scheme of things, it's a small amount of money, but it's a donation to a mental health charity. Why aren't we doing enough to almost counteract the negative press that we're getting? Because there is a lot that we do. So that's one thing. And then secondly, with regards to the affiliates being regulated, I I'm not sure I 100% agree. I like what Rake is doing, and you know, you have some amazing partners on board, some huge big companies. Better Collective, I've known them since they had one website and one geo and started out years ago. You know, they're amazing, very smart businessmen. And I think you do need leaders like that to help shape some sort of body or some sort of regulation. Will it work for everybody? I'm not sure. You know, there's big fees, and there's so do want to follow the rules. On the flip side, I also know there was so much when it started regulating in the UK, there was so many rules and so many emails. I remember getting them and thinking, I am over, as an affiliate, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what you're asking. You're asking so many things, and every operator was asking or messaging it in a slightly different way. I remember BGO sent an email and it was almost bullet points. These are the things you have to do. This is it, like 5 bullet points. And I'm like, oh, thank God. It's literally idiot proof. I cannot get this wrong. But I'd got 50 other emails not really knowing it was too complicated, you know, and there was so many slight variations, or the wording was, it's like they pulled it straight out of the law and dropped it in an email for me. And that doesn't work. Why can there not just be one place that either Rake produces or something like that, where it's very clear, very easy, all the operators know, all the affiliates know, and you just go and get all of the, you know, here's an idiot guide to the, you know, UKGC, the Sweden, the Italy, whatever it is, it's bulletproof. You cannot get this wrong. I think there needs to be something like that, and whether it's produced as a legal document, whether it's on GPWA or whatever it is, you know, I think there needs to be a little bit more support, because there are, you know, I love affiliates, but they can be lazy, they can be overwhelmed, they can have so many things. Eris is laughing, but it's true, you know, they're so busy, they're running businesses. And some of them are running them on their own, and they have 30 sites. It's impossible to do everything. And so if there's one central place that they can go where it's easy to understand, it's easy to go, right, okay, I know, and I can work through this. This is everything I need to know, rather than every operator that they have, which is 50, 100, 200 accounts they have. I mean, how can it be, was it alt shift and delete? I mean, you know, it's hard for them. I think as an operator, it needs to be easier, or as a Rake, something like that just needs to make it easier for the affiliates to follow the rules.
I definitely agree with the fact that there are affiliates coping with 150, 200 different tasks at a single moment. Of course, definitely if they're a one-man show, the amount of things that we need to deal with is crazy. I would say first, regarding regulation for affiliate or anything that affiliate has to take part in and decide how they want to deal with it, is first of all, they can, if they're outside of the UK, they can think, do I want to deal with the UK market as of now, or I can shift my business to other countries and be done with it. But I definitely think that two things about it: an affiliate that looks at the UK as a market that he can bring something to and can get something of, need to invest in getting being a part of a group of affiliates who have a brand, a stamp, or a regulation or something, because and it would definitely help with the relationship with the operator, who say, hey, this affiliate has got approved by reg or any other any type of regulator, so that for sure will help. And the second thing, we would see, or the part of networks can be, of network of affiliates can be crucial in this issue, because a network can apply to this regulation and take the fees and manage it with, and then help the operator control, manage, and communicate with the affiliate. Then it's not and basically it moves from bilateral negotiation or two people talking, the affiliate manager and the affiliate, into three people talking, the affiliate manager within the network, and the affiliate itself. And I think that networks can play a key part in forming this regulation. First on the side of this is what you need to be doing in order to get the approval, and then manage it, control it, ban out rogue affiliates, and so on. So I think networks can take a crucial and an important part in this adventure.
Thanks, Erez. We obviously have some light touch licensing regimes in the States already, in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, but I guess it's still quite early. Still quite early for those, I guess. I think people working under it in New Jersey seem to think it works quite well. So at the moment, so I'm sure. I just think, do you think sort of scaling it back a little bit? Obviously, we touched upon, the sort of historic kind of tensions in the relationship were obviously based upon, so Claire has mentioned it, inserting retroactive quotas and things like that, just changing terms and conditions and not informing of it. I mean, do you think it's possible, sort of, on that basis? Obviously, a licensing is a much bigger picture thing, and it's all tying into what the operators are driving for, and the social responsibility and pressure within the market. Do you think it'd be possible just to sort of to get something across the operators and affiliates in place where you could actually get sort of code in place about conduct in that way, about how T's and C's should be written, and a sort of protocol for contacting affiliates when changes are made to those and stuff? I mean, surely is that something that's feasible for the industry? And if so, why hasn't that happened yet in a way? Because this has been a problem that's been going on for years and years and years. To me, that seems relatively easy in the big picture. Wouldn't it be possible just to get a code of conduct in place, so that therefore those tensions wouldn't arise in the relationship if affiliates were notified of what was going on? Who wants to take that one first? I guess the question would be, would that be something, I guess I'll come to you in a minute, Clive, would that be something a trade body could do as well, implementing that kind of that template, that set of standards for conduct between operators and affiliates like that? Start with you, Clive.
I think there are always concerns when that starts encroaching on commercial relationships and commercial freedoms. So I think that's one of the reasons that we've chosen to focus on social responsibility issues and regulatory issues. You have to be careful not to cross that line, because you can very quickly get into deep water where you're doing things which look good on the face of it, but damage one part of the sector more than others. Small against big, PPC against some other type of marketing. We've got to be careful not to encroach on that, and there are all sort of competition laws to guard against that. But in terms of improving consistency, I think that's something we absolutely got to aim for. One of the problems we've got on the affiliate side is, of course, that it's such a diverse sector. We could never say we speak for everyone, even a large proportion of people, and you couldn't then impose a code and say, well, look, we've made this up between ourselves and now we expect everyone to follow it. You could recommend it as good practice, which is the sort of thing we certainly do. And then there are very practical things, and something Claire said about, operators have gambling commission rules to follow, they have ASA rules to follow, and yet they all interpret it in 12 different ways. And if you've got half a dozen or 8 clients in the gambling sector and they're all asking you to comply with things in a different way, it's a nightmare. And that's such a common complaint. And so I would say that's one of the priorities. And we were looking at that, and then we discovered that the Gambling Commission had asked the Betting and Gaming Council, which is the Gambling Industry Trade Association, to produce something themselves. So They've just had one meeting of their first meeting of their working group, which is looking at a code. I've discussed it with them at length. They've agreed we can see drafts, it progresses. But very much the sort of thing we'll want to see in that is a common interpretation by operators of what's required of affiliates on the regulatory side. And then we'll move into that sort of grey area about, well, what should contracts contain? What might sensible common terms be? And then it's really how far you can push it. And as ever with these things, you're dealing with a large group of operators, a large group of affiliates, trying to find that common ground, that sort of consensus. So I think there'll be some easy wins, but it won't be easy overall.
Yeah, I agree that it's I don't envy you in that position. It's a really hard one. For affiliates, there's a thing called affiliate guard dog, and they review affiliate program T's and C's, and so they'll pull out for affiliates. It's a free site. Actually, they review the affiliate programs for free, which the brands may not like because they may pick up things that affiliates don't like. So they're very neutral. They're not it's not a biased program or anything, but they will go in and they'll look for things like minimum terms. They'll look for the minimum number of players to deliver per month. They'll look at termination clauses. They'll look at everything, and I don't know the algorithm they use or whatever like that, and then they provide their feedback. Whether there's predatory terms, and they just highlight them. So affiliates can go and see. I know there's not all of the programs in there, but I know anytime I message them with a new program, they'll reply, and obviously programs launch every week. So they're always adding to it, but there's a place where the affiliates can go and have a look before they sign up, and whether you then start using that and pulling that in, and maybe that helps you see where there's such differences in the law, and with the issues that come up for the affiliates, and the issues that, or the the comparison between the program T's and C's. That might be a place where you can see very quickly these things keep coming up and they're a problem for affiliates. Obviously we need to consider what's a problem for the operator, but the fact that the T's and C's are in there means it's important to them. But that's one way as an affiliate to see what's important. And also I've worked as an operator and had the program T's and C's reviewed and asked for the feedback prior to it going live, because I wanted to make sure that the affiliates were happy with the T's and C's that we put out. This is what we want as a company and we believe to be right, but please review it from an affiliate standpoint, see what you think. Luckily we got passed, but that's where you can work with them and go, okay, these are the things that are affiliate unfriendly, they call it, and we'll mark it as predatory. So that's helpful to affiliates. And maybe when you're looking at creating one set of kind of a code of conduct guideline of T's and C's, that could be something to consider as well.
Thanks, Claire. I remember we did the last time we did the affiliate survey a couple of years ago. I think 50% of the respondents said that the affiliate said they didn't look at T's and C's before signing up, though. So, so I guess, yeah, I mean, I guess affiliates can help themselves a bit as well in that respect. So checking that. Sorry, Erez. Do you have anything to add on this one?
I think that creating a code of conduct for affiliates is something that needs to be done, especially for those of us who feels responsible for what we're doing. And I think you can find enough responsible affiliates to help work around the structure of this code of conduct, and basically you're going to have, and in regards to what Claire said, you're going to have an evaluation of the brands and affiliates. We talk among ourselves. We know which operators have T&Cs that are unacceptable or needs to be changed or whatever. So there's need to be kind of a comparison or a list of ground rules for the operators, and a code of conduct for the affiliates themselves. And all of us in this industry, operators and affiliates alike, need to kind of maintain those codes, those key points, the Bill of Rights, call it whatever you want. And basically, if anyone breaks the rules, we should all know about it. I myself, I'm participating in a group of affiliates and media buyers, and that we do talk about affiliates who are scamming, or brands or operators who are not behaving correctly. I think you should. I think that we all should go and find out and recruit those responsible affiliates who understand that this is an issue, and work together with the brands and the operators and create that code of conduct, and it should be clear, and we should all abide by it. And I think it's going to help everybody. And again, it's going back to something that I've said in the beginning before the webinar. It's a win-win situation. If we all pull together and work together, everybody it's going to help everyone.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's great. Thanks, Eretz. No, that's really well put. Actually, while I'm having a discussion, I've actually forgot to invite the audience to send in any questions. Actually, so now's your chance, because we're just coming to the end of the session now. I guess for me, I mean, I think a good note to leave it on really is, I think Clive is obviously very heavily involved in this yet, and the code of conduct. I mean, do you think what does everyone see as the best, most valuable first next steps in terms of it's been quite a difficult period recently. I think it's been going on in terms of rebuilding this trust. What needs to happen now between operators and affiliates? Just very couple of things from each of you, and I think it'd be a nice way to kind of to end the webinar today. Should we start with let's start with Claire on that one.
Of how we can work better together. I'm sorry, my sound cut off for a second. I'm so sorry, Stephen.
It's all right. No, it's just sort of just the way we leave it today. Obviously, we had a discussion about rebuilding that trust, and it's been quite difficult very lately. So, what do you think should be the most valuable next steps for operators and affiliates to take together now? Do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I think the industry is a really strong industry. I think that people have some great partnerships. We have great opportunities, and it's a shame when there's rogue operators that come in. It's a shame when there's rogue affiliates that come in. I know that, like Erez mentioned, there are groups out there that share the information on, let's call them bad eggs. And I think there needs to be a little bit more communication around that. I think that's going to build up the trust. It certainly does. I have some very good friends on both sides of the fence. If I'm working with an affiliate and I'm unsure of the quality, I'll ask a few operator friends, hey, are they legit? I just want to be sure. And likewise, I've had affiliates come to me and say, don't work with those brands, Claire, they don't pay, they don't convert. So I think then be this constant communication between us, and I think that will secure the trust with people. And the work that's being done in the UK, I think that it's good. I think it's definitely necessary. It just needs to be a very clear message and needs to be consistent. That's my thing. It just needs to be consistent and easy to understand for newbies, for small one-man bands, all the way up obviously to the big guys. I think as long as the messaging is clear, there is work to do, but I think that everybody wants the common goal. Everybody wants to be successful, everyone wants to make money, everyone wants to do a good job. So I think we're on the right path, definitely.
Erez, you take this.
I think it's we all need to remember that everybody likes to bet on their favorite team. I will always bet on Liverpool, even if they're losing. Everybody wants to make money, and it's not going to go away. It's going to go away if we're going to forget that we are human beings and we forget how to behave with one another, and we forget that it's a win-win situation, and we forget that it's all about the relationship between one another. I think that the operators need, on the operator side, we need to when building this code of conduct, we need to think about what is a common T&Cs, what happened when there's a shift, when there's a change, how do we notify what we're doing with things that happened before. And on the affiliate side is this is how we generate traffic. This is how we're going to do it. This is the flow, and it's all about setting the expectations on both sides based on mutual communication. Expectations when you're starting with the new operator or a new affiliate, everything should be. We need to make sure that we're on the same page and the same book, not only the same page. So managing expectations, and if we have this code of conduct, let's say 15 major points on the operator side, or 15 to-dos on the operator side and 15 to-dos on the affiliate side, that everybody understand that this is the core value of this industry. It could get us a few feet ahead and moving into a better atmosphere and more responsibility on everybody's side.
Thanks, Erez. It's better being a Liverpool fan than a Watford fan, anyway. Right, finally, Clive.
Yeah, that was right in the beginning, wasn't it? Yeah, look, there's no silver bullet to this. We didn't get into this situation overnight, and we won't get out of it overnight. But I think a lot of it comes down to what Erez was saying, is we need operators to recognise affiliates as valued partners and not as a sort of necessary evil, which I think certainly for some of the big players, that's the impression I get, which is unfortunate. In terms of addressing those sort of perceptions about the affiliate sector, I think there are some small steps we can take which will fairly quickly make us overall look better. So just an example, one of the things we're looking at the moment is some minimum standards about information that affiliates who have websites can put on them about responsible gambling. It doesn't have to be reams, but just so we have, we can just say, look, there was a phrase that kept being thrown at the licensed gambling industry for years, which was, you don't get it. The problem is you don't get it. And the it is about consumer protection and, not putting money above everything, which is unfair, but it's stuck. And we need to show ways to the operators as much as to anybody else that as affiliates, we get it. We get the pressure they're under. And here's what we can do as our part of that puzzle to help find a solution. And, I think Claire was saying, look, affiliates cannot be held responsible for problem gamblers. Affiliates are not selling a gambling opportunity. They are selling a product. They are promoting a product who does that. But we are part of that food chain, and it's just recognizing that and showing that we do get it. And here's things we can do, reasonable things that affiliates of all sizes can do, which just reflect we're a small part of the problem, but here's our small solution to it.
I agree.
Thanks, Clive. Right, we've come to the end of the hour. We're actually over the hour, actually. So, well, that's all we've got time for today. So thank you all very much again, Clive, Erez, and Claire. Today's webinar has been recorded and will be available on demand shortly on igamingbusiness.com for you to rewatch and share with your colleagues. Otherwise, we'll see you all very soon. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.